Airsoft Technology would like to welcome you to our Solex Technologies webcast, What Are You Doing to Protect Sensitive Data? Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. The audio portion of this webcast can be heard through your computer speakers, or if you prefer, you can use the dial-in displayed on the screen to listen through your telephone. All lines have been muted to reduce any background noise. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please use the chat pod on the left side of your screen. We will do our best to answer all of your questions at the end of the presentation. If for some reason we do not get to your questions, our team will certainly follow up with you offline. Just to tell you a little bit about Carahsoft, we are a trusted government IT solutions provider delivering software and support solutions to federal, state, and local government agencies. Carahsoft maintains dedicated teams to support sales and marketing for all of its vendors, including Solex, Adobe, VMware, Symantec, and Red Hat. Our contact information will be at the end of the presentation, so please do not hesitate to call or email us for any of your needs. This webcast is being recorded and a copy of the presentation will be emailed to you. Now at this time, I'd like to introduce our speakers for today. Sandeep Ravuri, Manager of Pre-Sales at Solex Technology, and Deborah Reebok, Director of Strategic Partners at Solex Technologies. Deborah, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Dustin. And I'd like to thank everyone for taking their time today, whether it be morning or afternoon in your particular location, to understand more about how you can protect your sensitive data. And what are you currently doing to protect it? So Solex is an enterprise data management company. We will provide you with information about types of sensitive data, give you a brief tour of some data breaches, how to prevent them, and most importantly, how to discover all of your sensitive data, how to mask it and subset it, and some best practices that you can take away, as well as a demonstration of our technology. And then we will have some questions and answers. So according to the Verizon report, they did a data breach report for 2012 that was compiled by information from various Secret Service agencies across the world, the United States Secret Service, the London Police, Australian Federal Police. It's very interesting if you note that the highest number of incidents where records were compromised fall under personal type of information, bank information, credit card information, as well as medical information. From a view of the federal and state types of privacy breaches, just solely in the non-commercial environment, we see that, and this was from the first quarter through the first quarter of this fiscal year, that there were a significant number of breaches in the past few years, that the breaches have been trending up, and that we're approximately a fifth of the way there as of the end of Q1 for the number of breaches that occurred in 2012. Now, it'd be interesting to see where most of these breaches occur, and there's a correlation between the commercial side. So healthcare has had a significant number of breaches. Federal data breaches were up by now it's over 20%. And through the end of last year, there were a number of breaches at universities. All of these environments contain sensitive information, whether that information is personal health information, personally identifiable information such as credit cards, etc., Social Security number, employee type of information, and these attacks have really occurred more from the inside than the outside. The attacks that occur and the data breaches occur externally get the publicity. For instance, the one that happened in March with a very large credit reporting agency where Michelle Obama's information and Hillary Clinton's information and some other high-profile individuals' information was actually leaked on the Internet. But the biggest threats are inside, and you never hear about that. And those threats come from the copies of personal information and data that's used in test scenarios, development scenarios, and that's basically sitting out on your servers. And the big challenge is to find out where all that information resides and to be able to effectively mask it. You can see there's a number of different privacy laws that have come into being in the past couple of years, and the one I'm sure we're most familiar with is HIPAA. Every time you walk into a doctor's office, you have to sign a HIPAA-compliant form. So how does Solix handle masking? So what Solix does is we have a complete business object support for Tier 1 types of ERP and customer relationship management software. We are used for masking in healthcare, financial services companies. I'm sure you all have a credit card with either a big V or a big M on it, and they are using us. MasterCard recently did a webinar with us on our technology. So what we do is we take a look at the business objects. And what would a business object be? Let's use myself as an individual. I'm part of an organization. And if I'm an employee, all of my data would be considered to be in an object. My name, location, social security number, address, date of hire, salary, payroll, etc. All of that is personal identifiable information, and we want to have consistency of that across the enterprise. So we categorize things in business objects. So that would be employee record or invoice or sales transaction or general ledger journal. And these objects cross the organization, so they span multiple systems, multiple table spaces. And what Solix has done has created a metadata repository. So we take a look and say, what does employee object look like? It has these required fields and characteristics. What does service order look like? It has these required fields and characteristics. So no matter what application, we have a consistent way to view the objects, discover them, and then mask them. This is a model that we have pre-populated for over 50 plus off-the-shelf applications such as Oracle eBusiness, PeopleSoft, Siebel, Bond, as well as custom applications. We use the exact same technique and set up a metadata repository, understand what the business objects need to look like, what the parent and child relationships are, map that, and can then auto-populate that across the application. To be able to discover and subset and mask on the fly, you need to have a consistent view across the application. So the first thing in our solution, Solix EDMS stands for Enterprise Data Management Suite, is we need to discover the data. Where does it reside? Most organizations have heterogeneous applications, and the data is spread out all over. It's usually not nicely, neatly packaged up in one place. We need to be able to then, once you've discovered all the information, what subset of that information is critical to be masked, so that when we go into a testing and development scenario, that as a tester, I only have that information that's relevant to me, and the sensitive areas are masked, or the term you may hear is obfuscated, which basically means scrambled so that it cannot be read. Once we've identified them, we then mask those elements, refresh the database, validate that we've gotten all of the elements, and then move that masked data from production to a non-production environment. So we're going to talk about discovery, test data management, masking, and how we validate the data. So let's take a look at our data discovery. The problem is, and I'll bet everybody out there has felt this problem, is that you've got multiple databases across different organizations, all storing different types of sensitive information. PII is personally identifiable information, Social Security number, address, etc. PCI etc. And PHI is personal health information, things such as medical record numbers, insurance codes, diagnoses, etc. Most of the enterprises and organizations don't know where all of this is located. There's often legacy applications spread throughout your organization, so there's no consistency in how things are named, and there's no standards. And you've got very different formats across the organization. You could have one format used in Washington, D.C., and let's say you've got a location out in Denver where they're same kind of application but a whole different format being used. And there's no easy way to prove compliance during an IT audit. And compliance is very important as it relates to masking and the ability to pass audits. So what we've come up with is a solution to help you auto-discover the sensitive data regardless of the application. So it can be different data sources, custom applications, various third-party apps. We have a set of pre-populated rules and patterns for the individual sensitive elements, whether they're PII or PCI or PHI. You're able to not only search the database, but the entire metadata repository and store the information, store the metadata in the Solix repository so that you have a single place, a single source for it. And through the auto-discovery and then masking, you will know that you've gotten all of the information that's sensitive. Sometimes people write scripts, and that may suffice on some occasions. However, the question that arises is, if we've written scripts internally, how do we know we have identified all of the sensitive information across these heterogeneous applications and then effectively mask that information consistently? You cannot, unfortunately, you can't do that with a script. So our data discovery process is pretty simple. It's very step-by-step process-driven, and you will see this in the demonstration today. It provides you with actions to mask the discovered data, as well as a data discovery dashboard. So at this point, I think what I'd like to do is turn the presentation over to Sandeep, and he will discuss what is data masking and walk us through the rest of these slides. Sandeep?
Yes, thank you, Deborah. Hello, everyone. This is Sandeep Rauri, Manager Pre-Sales at Solix. And today I would be providing a detailed overview on the test data management solutions in Solix Enterprise Data Management product suite. So the test data management solutions in Solix EDMS include data discovery, data masking, and subsetting. So as mentioned by Deborah, data discovery would automate the search of sensitive data elements in the non-production databases. So once the identification is done, you can go ahead and mask all the sensitive data elements as per the nature of that element and as per the requirement of the customer. The requisite algorithm is provided out of the box and the masking can be initiated. So right now on your screen is a slide on data masking. So data masking is where we would be obfuscating the data that is sensitive in nature. So this would be a one-way process, meaning we would be masking the data only in the non-production environments. And this idea of data masking would definitely improve the overall security of the non-production environment. And at the same time, it would take care of the compliance requirements that need to be adhered to by any organization based on the industry they are part of. And we also provide data encryption as one of the type within our data masking product solution. So moving on, in data masking product of Solix, we have come up with masking ability across heterogeneous application and database platforms based on required policies for masking various known sensitive data elements. Now these masking algorithms are applicable for both packaged applications as well as for custom and legacy applications as well. So for all the packaged applications, we have the metadata of tables relations as an out-of-the-box solution. So we can simply plug in the metadata into the EDMS repository and mask all the known sensitive data elements while they are shared internally or externally as a part of testing and development activities. EDMS supports a wide range of all the major database releases. It could be Oracle, DB2, MySQL, Sybase IQ, etc. And the masking rules that we provide are intelligent and conditional, meaning it would ensure that once the masking is done, the generated value would have the same original format or logic in terms of maintaining the contextual integrity. And our tool is intelligent enough to mask the data consistently across all the related tables and columns, thereby ensuring the referential integrity and validating the testing and development activities. Now, data masking has two components as a part of EDMS product portfolio. The first is the data discovery that would help in the automation of search of various sensitive data elements that could be PII, PCI, and PHI data across a heterogeneous database platforms. And once the search of all the elements is complete, the user can run a dashboard and reports on the various sensitive elements that have been identified, and then proceed with data masking by selecting the required security rules for each of the element, and then go ahead with the masking activity to secure those elements in the non-production environment. So moving on to the test data management solution, what we call a database subsetting solution. This is primarily for automating the subsetting and cloning processes in the non-production environment. So assuming a scenario where a production database copy is of size 500 gigabyte and there are 5 teams that are requiring that particular production database copy for various reasons. It could be for testing, integration testing, development, training, sandbox. So without a test data management solution, the entire 500 gigabyte of production database copy would be shared individually for each and every team. So that would result in an overall requirement of around 2.5 terabyte on the non-production side. So with the help of Solix EDMS test data management solution, what we can do is we can create subsets of the production database copy and share each of the subset to the various users by only retaining the required transactional data in that subset. So these subsets can be created based on one or more criteria or business rules, and we can employ various methods for subsetting, like it could be a delete method, a truncate method, insert method, or what we call single pass database cloning with inline subsetting, nothing but the gold master method that Solix has pioneered over the years. So using either of these methods based on the customer requirement, we can create one or more subsets, and these subsets would have the data and referential integrity duly maintained because while creating these subsets based on multiple business rules, EDMS would leverage the metadata framework that is captured in the EDMS repository. So by leveraging that information, our tool would perform the subsetting with application and data integrity. So what we have here is a solution that can be bundled along with the data masking solution that is part of the same product. So when a customer has the licenses for both subsetting and masking, what they can do is they can create a subset of relevant transactional data required for that particular subset based on one or more business rules, and then utilize the masking functionality of EDMS and go ahead with the masking of all the sensitive elements on the fly. So whenever a subset process is initiated, the masking would also run concurrently on all the sensitive elements, thereby creating a secure subset. Now, the traditional way of data subsetting is to create a subset and then go ahead with the masking process. But then with Solix EDMS being a one-stop solution using a single install product and repository, it would cater to not only database subsetting, but can also work for data discovery and masking as well. So moving on to one of our case studies, this is with a customer in healthcare domain. It's a federal healthcare financing agency, and this customer has a predominantly Oracle environment, and they had overall a requirement of creating multiple subsets of their production database copy and also mask those subsets wherein all the sensitive data elements need to be obfuscated. So what we have used here is our Solix EDMS subsetting as well as data masking solution. So the subsetting piece was delivered by the gold instance or the gold master method. Using the gold master, what we do is we create a gold copy of the production database copy. So that gold copy would only have the setup, lookup, and master data it would not have any transactional data. So out of a 16 terabyte of production copy instance, we created a gold instance of as small as 103 gigabyte. So this particular gold instance only had the setup, lookup, and master data. And depending on the number of subsets that were required, we created copies or clones of this particular gold instance and started inserting transactional data onto each of the gold instance based on the subset requirement. So every subset had unique transactional data with application and data integrity duly maintained. So out of a 16 terabyte of production instance, we were able to create a subset that was as small as 180 gigabyte, thereby saving around 89 terabyte of storage provisioning on the non-production side. And this customer has also gone ahead with the masking feature of Solix EDMS. So while creating the subsets, we have also masked sensitive data elements in the subsets as well, thereby providing secure subsets as per the customer requirements. So now we move on to the product demonstration. Now the product that I would be demonstrating today is the Solix EDMS Data Masking Standard Edition.
And while Sandeep is getting this loaded, the Solix Data Masking Standard Edition enables you to mask up to 10 columns of data. It provides you with a subset of functionality of the full product, and is available for a free download at Carahsoft.com as well as Solix.com. Sandeep?
All right. So once you download the Solix Data Masking Standard Edition, you would be getting this particular zip file here. So all you need to do is unzip this file and get into the EDMS home folder. And then click on Start EDMS. This would start the Tomcat, that is the application server, which is bundled together along with this particular software. So once you click on Start EDMS batch file, you would start the Tomcat, and then EDMS access would be possible. So this is the link for the standard edition of EDMS that has been installed on my local desktop, and the default username and password is admin, both in caps. So I'll go ahead and click on the login button here. So we have standard editions for data archiving, data masking, and data validation as well. And today I would be going ahead with the demonstration of data masking edition. So first I'll get into the launch data masking wizard. Now this is a simple process wherein you can connect to any of your databases in your environment and mask up to 10 columns that have sensitive data elements. So the first step here is to set up database connection. The second step is to select the tables and columns that are eligible for masking, and then security rule based on the element that is within that column, and then proceed with the masking activity by executing that particular security rule assignment. So in the demonstration, I would be covering all the 4 steps, And what I would be doing is, for the demo, I would be masking two tables in one of our demo databases that has credit card number and bank account number. So first, I'll go ahead with setting up the database connection. So this is the connection that I have already provided. So we have options here to create, like, create, or edit. So let me go ahead and edit this particular connection and show all the various fields. So you have the provision to provide the name of that particular database and all the instance details. And here is the drop-down option to select the type of the database. And once the database credentials are provided, you can go ahead and test the connection and then save it. So this completes the first step, that is to set up database connection. Now the next step here is to select the table and column that needs to be masked. So I'll go ahead and select the masking source database and the schema. And this is one of the tables that I would like to mask that has bank account number. So I've selected that particular table, and I'll go ahead and click on the Add button. And the next table that I'm selecting is for credit card number. So this way we can register the tables in the repository and then move on to the next step. Now this is where we assign the security rules based on the data elements that have been identified for masking. So for the AP bank accounts all table, I'm going ahead and selecting the column here that has the bank account number. The rule type is selected as shuffling. So based on the rule type, all the associated algorithms get populated for shuffling. We can also add criteria if required. So criteria-based masking is also possible. And the final step is to go ahead and click on the Add button. So this way we can assign the algorithm for an element. In this case, it is a bank account number. Similar way, I'll go ahead and create an assignment for credit card number as well. So this time around, I have selected it as masking. So for masking, we see all these options. So I've selected the one for credit card wherein it would retain a format. So now I'll go ahead and select these assignments and move to the next step. That is to simply run the masking activity. Now before I run the masking job, let me access the database and show the original value. So what we have done here is we have taken a backup table of the table that we are masking in order to help in masking process validation. So here you see a comparison between the original and the masked bank account number. So the values here are same because we have not yet masked the data. So this has been done purely for demonstration purpose. We may not require this kind of a feature in real-time scenarios. Now I'll go ahead and initiate the masking activity. Now we have the option for credit card because we have selected the algorithm to retain the format even after masking. So we can choose either of these credit card service provider to have their format once the masked credit card number is generated. So I'll go ahead and select the option as Visa. The format separator for bank is a hyphen, so I'll retain it as it is. And we have this preview option here. So this would actually generate a preview for masking. So the user can see how the masking activity would be complete. It's more like a preview to the actual masking that would be completed. So the user also has an option to see that beforehand. And the final step is to go ahead with the execution piece, that is by clicking on Save and Run. Now here is the run ID that got generated. Now when I click on this run ID, it will take us straight to the status monitor function, where we can actually track the process. So here you see that the status is complete. So both the assignments for bank account and credit card numbers have been successfully executed and the data has been masked as per the algorithms. Now let me go ahead and validate this at the database level as well. So here you see there is a difference now between the original bank account number and the masked bank account number. And for the credit card number, you see that all the credit card numbers are starting with 4, that is for Visa. So this was a quick demonstration on the EDMS standard edition for masking, and this solution is available free of cost and can be downloaded from the websites of Solix or Carahsoft. So now we'll go ahead with the presentation, and
Thank you, Sandeep. And as we're waiting for the next slide, let's think about some best practices. With a tool such as Solix EDMS, whether it's the SE version or the full enterprise version, it's critical to ensure that the context of the data is consistent across the applications and your databases, that it is masked consistently across these systems, that according to your business rules and policies, that the appropriate security rules or algorithms are utilized, and that depends again on the organization's or agency's assessment of various risk levels, and this is configurable to your organization or agency, and that the data subsetting is also used along with data masking. So to do masking, subsetting and masking on the fly as a single process, that actually will speed up the process within your organization. And that we walk you through the masking through our technologies set up according to most commonly followed business processes. So it's a stepwise type of approach. If you're interested in our software, you can go to solix.com or Carahsoft.com and do the download. It's very easy to set up. We made it, simple, step-by-step, process-driven approach. It already comes shipped with a library of algorithms, and it enables you with our data validation to compare the integrity of the data between your different data sources so that there's consistency. And given the financial situation with the government right now, whether you're state or local, most people's budgets are pretty well strapped. So this is a tool that you could get value from today because it is no cost. There is not a license that times out. And what we like to say is no budget, no problem. Do not prevent yourself from utilizing the value of this tool because there is no budget. We're taking that issue off the table. So I'd like to just give you a brief tour through a few of these breaches. I will not read this, but I will hit some of the high points. HHS, they had millions, almost 20 million records that have been exposed in breaches since September 2009. There was a case in Alabama that you could read about where there was fraud going on for several years, and false tax returns were filed to the tune of close to $2 million. And then most recently in March, there was a large credit reporting agency that confirmed a fraudulent and unauthorized access. So we think having sensitive data, it is critical that it be protected. At this point, I'd like to open up the floor for questions. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand or notify Dustin, and we'll be able to take them. Dustin, you want to tell me if anything's popped up?
Sure thing. And we actually have a Q&A pod on the left side of your screen, so if you have any, just feel free to enter them in there, and we'll get to them. But we have had a few come in already. First one we have is, we have developed in-house scripts to mask data. Why do I need your tool?
Sandeep, you want to take that?
Sure. So the custom scripts or the in-house scripts that any customer would develop would be specific to a particular database type, or it would only cater to a few of the known sensitive elements that they intend to mask. But then with Solix EDMS data masking solution, we provide the library of security rules and algorithms as an out-of-the-box solution. And our solution can be integrated with multiple databases of heterogeneous platform. So it would cater to an enterprise customer that is running a packaged application or a custom or legacy application running on any of the leading database releases.
I think the other point on that is when you develop in-house scripts or any in-house code, these days of employee reduction, oftentimes you lose the expertise that created these scripts and code at that point in time. So you're back to where you started from. Okay. What else, Dustin?
Another question is, how long can I use the Solex masking software?
You can use the free download forever. There is no, this is not a trial license. This does not time out. You can continue to use it as long as it fits your needs.
And another question we have is, why should I download Solex SE?
Well, the answer to that is, how important is it to protect your sensitive data? And if you're not doing it now with a tool, then why not download Solex, test it, and see the value that you can get immediately. It takes 5 to 10 minutes to set up, and I can do it, and I'm not a technical person. So sensitive data is just that. The risk of exposure is much greater than not doing anything. We cannot afford, no matter what kind of organization you are, you cannot afford to have your sensitive information exposed.
Okay, and how can I use your tool to mask productive data?
Well, I think I understand that as a production data. So our tool can be used, is focused on masking in a non-production environment. However, you can use this to mask a production database if you do the following. Take a snapshot of that database as a staging database. Mask the data on the staging database and then move it to your non-production system. We believe to mask directly from production creates more problems than it does provide value, because you don't have the ability to do that comparison, and your production database is just that. You want to keep that clean with the highest integrity, and taking a snapshot of it is an IT best practice. So that way you'd take a snapshot, you'd have a staging database, you'd mask the staging database, which is a pure snapshot of your production, and then move it into a non-production environment where if you're using outsourced individuals, or you've got folks that are on in the testing team, they certainly don't need to see all of the pertinent data that is sensitive. But this is for a need-to-know only perspective.
All right, I think that's all the questions we have, unless you were going to keep going on about that. Sorry.
No, I wanted to, first of all, thank Carahsoft for hosting this webinar, and we welcome any questions. So feel free. We've got contact information up on your screen right now. Feel free to get in touch if you have any questions, and take 10 minutes during lunch today, or whenever you have some free time, download the software. You'll be surprised, and pleasantly surprised and amazed at the value that it can bring. So thank you.
All right, and at this point, I want to say thank you to our speakers, Deborah and Sandeep. I want to thank all of our participants as well as Solex Technologies for being with us today. We hope our webcast has been helpful for you and your organization. If you have any further questions or would like to request more information, please feel free to contact Christina Shihadi from Solex Technologies team at Carahsoft. Her contact information is displayed on your screen, so please don't hesitate to call or email her. Thank you and have a great day.